Hello, welcome to another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace, reporting live here at the Highline Ballroom here in New York City as part of the 2011 Blue Note Jazz Festival here in New York City. Trumpeter and composer Tom Harrell tonight is performing a very, very special program here as part of the Blue Note Jazz Festival. It's called Jazz Meets Classical, Debussy meets Ravel, and the music is really written for the quartet, but he added a violinist to the whole entire mix. Tonight's music is all original, but we're going to sit down and talk also about his brand new album on High Note Records called The Time and the Sun, as well as some of his influences surrounding both classical as well as jazz music. Jazz meets classical, Debussy meets Ravel. This is something that you've been wanting to do for quite a while.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've been checking out Debussy and Ravel a long time, and the way arranging relates. I mean, there's such a big influence on arrangers in music, and the way jazz and classical music relate. It's really fantastic. Loving strings too. I've always wanted to write for strings, and it's great to have this opportunity, and it's something I've been working on over the years, and it's great to integrate the strings with the quintet and the flute too. And with quintet, we have a working group, and so it's great to have the chance to use a different instrumentation. And I love the colors you can create. You know, I mean, the quintet is unlimited too in the colors, but when you add more and more instruments, it can expand the palette even more. And the more I listen to music, the more I realize how it relates to visual art, and plus living in New York is such a visual place. The light is really nice, and of course Paris is the city of light, so you can see how the colors are reflected in the music. Yeah, it's really nice.
when writing for this ensemble, you also had to keep in mind the personalities of your original quintet, but you also had to write also for the colors for the strings, the additional members of this group.
Well, yeah, I always try to write for the personalities of the people in the group, and while using the colors that are in the instruments, and it's a continual learning experience. And I've always been interested in harmony, and the more I see how harmony is related to instruments, to colors, and different instruments bring out different aspects of the changes of the harmonic beauty. Like, let's see, like violin brings out certain timbres that really highlight the beauty of the music, and cello too. I mean, also, like, I was really influenced by Charlie Parker with strings, and the way his sound was so beautiful with strings, and Blue Mitchell with strings too. It makes, I guess you could say, it creates a contrast. I mean, like, you want, like, the melody, if a soloist is playing, is like a jewel that is enhanced by a background, a beautiful background, and well, each instrument is a jewel in itself, but you bring, the jewel itself has highlights that are reflected in the light, and so the arranger can kind of create different highlights for each instrument. That's what I try to do, try to create new kinds of colors. It's very visual. I mean, like Duke Ellington had a background in visual art, and Miles Davis, of course, is a great painter, and
latest CD, A Time in the Sun, is a phenomenal piece of work. Your quintet is just right on the money.
Oh, yeah, they're amazing. They're an amazing group. They bring so much to the music. The songs I bring in, I mean, it's unbelievable how it's definitely a collaboration. I mean, they definitely bring the music to life, and every night we play, it's different. Music takes on a different form, and I am honored to play with them, and plus they're constantly evolving as players. They get better and better, so it's very humbling too. But I mean, it's inspiring because they're all innovators in the music, and it's unbelievable. We're all striving to do something different, and but still remain true to the tradition.
Wayne Escoffery is taking a lead role on this album. He was one of the producers on this record, yeah. And Wayne has really, and also Johnathan, those guys have enhance what you're trying to go musically. What is it about this group? Because you guys have been together for a little over 5 years now. What is it about this unit that's just so special?
Well, yeah, it's great that it's like a family. We've been together in a long time, and that creates, it's very, we can take chances with the music, and because we can anticipate each other's responses, and it's great. Plus, I think we share, there are certain goals that musically evolving, we're working in similar directions as far as harmonic colors and rhythmic subtlety, and it's related to what Dizzy Gillespie and Charlie Parker were created. Well, they sort of opened the door to a new kind of music that that really revolutionized, that influenced everyone on the planet, and it's amazing. Well, and Max Roach and Kenny Clark, they created accents that are a time feeling that was so subtle, and it also relates to earlier forms such as Joe Jones and Count Basie. The swing feeling they created is timeless. It's still very contemporary. Fresh. That's what the main thing we share is searching for something fresh.
Played with the great Horace Silver, and Horace Silver had two tremendous trumpet players. You had Blue Mitchell and Woody Shaw, and then there's you. How did he help you to become a dynamic band leader that you are right now, and what are some of the things that you're instilling now in your music that he infused in you when you played with him?
Well, right now the first thing that comes to mind is he has a global perspective. I mean, he turned me on to a global kind of thinking. And Dizzy Gillespie, too. I mean, Dizzy before him. But I mean, like Horace, when Horace writes, it's like cooking. I mean, he's a master chef, and he writes with all the different influences from the globe. And what I strive to do. And I think also I realized it was great to work with him, because I learned so much about life, because when he brought in a new composition, the vibe was so intense. I mean, I've been with, I noticed he has a great sense of self. He has a great sense of pride in himself and great sense of self-respect, and he would always be very firm about his music, but still let people express their own personalities. And I guess that's another thing I learned from him, that he would always respect the people playing his music and let them grow into and find themselves and grow as individuals.
That'll do it again for another edition of the Pace Report, reporting live here at the Highline Ballroom here in New York City as part of the 2011 Blue Note Jazz Festival here in New York City. I'd like to personally thank Tom Harrell for his time, as well as the staff and management here at the Highline Ballroom. As always, please visit my website, www.thepacereport.com, for my weekly column as well as my past segments. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Until next time, peace.